Tomorrow. That's the word that suddenly started appearing everywhere around the Spanish royal palace tonight. Not next week, not later this month, tomorrow. And what makes this feel different is how strangely rushed everything suddenly became. Because according to the updated royal schedule released only hours ago, there's now a last-minute appearance being added that absolutely nobody expected Princess Leonor to attend. And honestly, the timing is so specific that I don't think this is just another royal event anymore. I think this is a message. A calculated one. And the more I looked into it tonight, the more I realized this might quietly become one of the most important public moments of Leonor's entire year. Not because of where she's going, but because of what the palace may be trying to prepare us for. And I'll be honest, there was one detail in the announcement that genuinely made me stop scrolling and reread it twice. Because if you've been following Leonor closely these past few months, you already know the palace has been changing her image little by little, almost like they're testing how much responsibility the public is ready to accept from her. And tomorrow might be the biggest test yet. If you're new to Leonor's story, subscribe, I post every day. Now here's the thing nobody is really saying out loud. Most people think royal schedules are boring. Ceremonies, handshakes, smiles, cameras, done. But that's the surface-level version. Royal schedules are political language. Every appearance is chosen carefully. Who stands beside who arrives first, who speaks, who stays silent, who gets photographed, and especially, who gets trusted. That's why tomorrow matters. Because the palace could have easily delayed this appearance. They could have protected Leonor from the pressure. They could have kept her away from the spotlight after the non-stop speculation surrounding her future lately. But instead, they pushed her directly into it. And personally, I don't think that's accidental anymore. I think Spain is watching a transition happen in real time. Not officially, not dramatically, but psychologically. You can almost feel the monarchy slowly moving public attention away from King Felipe, and toward Leonor without openly admitting it yet. And once I noticed that pattern, I couldn't unsee it. Look at the last few months carefully. Military training, public appearances increasing, more controlled press images, more solo attention, more moments where Leonor is being filmed reacting instead of simply standing there smiling. That's not random PR. That's narrative building. And honestly, it reminds me a little of what Prince William and Kate started doing years ago in the UK, slowly preparing public perception long before official transitions ever happen. The difference is, Spain feels more intense right now. Because Leonor isn't just becoming popular. She's becoming symbolic. That's a completely different level of pressure. And I think the palace knows it. Which is why tomorrow's appearance feels dangerous in a weird way. Because expectations are suddenly massive. People aren't looking at Leonor like a teenager anymore. They're studying her like a future institution. Even her body language gets analyzed frame by frame now. The way she walks, who she greets first, whether she smiles naturally or looks tense. Honestly, imagine being 20 years old and knowing every blink becomes national conversation material. I genuinely think people underestimate how psychologically exhausting that must be. And here's where my own hot take comes in. I actually think the palace may be moving too fast. Yeah, I said it. Because while the media keeps celebrating Leonor's discipline and maturity, which, to be fair, she clearly has, I sometimes wonder whether Spain is accidentally creating an impossible standard around her. Almost like she's no longer allowed to look uncertain. That's dangerous for any young royal. Especially in 2026, where social media turns hesitation into headlines within minutes. And tomorrow's event could either strengthen her image massively, or expose just how intense this pressure has become behind the scenes. Because timing is everything. Why announce this suddenly? Why now? Why not prepare the public earlier? That's the question I keep coming back to tonight. And honestly, I think the answer has less to do with Leonor herself and more to do with the monarchy trying to control the conversation before someone else does. Because lately, the royal conversation online has been changing fast. People don't just want ceremonies anymore. They want authenticity. That's why younger audiences suddenly connect more with candid moments than polished speeches. It's the same reason someone like Mr. Beast dominates online attention. People want to feel like they're watching something real unfold, not scripted perfection. And whether the palace realizes it or not, Leonor's strongest moments recently have actually been the unscripted ones. The quick reactions, the awkward pauses, the moments she looks nervous but keeps going anyway. Ironically, that humanity is making people trust her more, not less. And tomorrow could amplify that even further. especially if cameras catch even the smallest emotional detail. Now let me say something controversial for a second. I don't think the Spanish monarchy is trying to modernize the same way other royal families are. I think they're trying to survive modern attention. Big difference. Because attention in 2026 moves brutally fast. One clip changes everything. One photo becomes a narrative. One awkward moment becomes a meme for 6 months. And Leonor is stepping into that environment while carrying centuries of expectation on her shoulders. That's insane when you really think about it. Meanwhile, other royals like Prince William can rely on decades of institutional familiarity with the public. Leonor doesn't fully have that safety net yet. She's still building hers live in front of everyone. And tomorrow's sudden appearance feels like another step in that experiment. But here's the part nobody in traditional media seems willing to admit. The palace may actually need Leonor more urgently than people realize. Not because the monarchy is collapsing, but because attention spans are. Modern monarchies survive on emotional relevance now. And Leonor brings something extremely valuable to the institution: curiosity. People want to know what she thinks, how she handles pressure, whether she secretly resents this life, whether she'll eventually redefine the monarchy completely. That curiosity keeps the institution alive. And honestly, the palace probably knows that too. That's why tomorrow's schedule doesn't feel small to me. It feels strategic, very strategic, especially because sudden announcements usually mean one of two things. Either something changed unexpectedly behind closed doors, or they want maximum media impact before anyone can overanalyze it. And personally, I think it's the second one. Because surprise creates emotion. Emotion creates clicks. Clicks create narrative. The palace understands modern media more than people think. Maybe not perfectly, but better than before. And that's exactly why tomorrow could become one of those defining, remember where you were when you saw it, royal moments online. Not because of scandal, not because of drama, but because perception shifts quietly before history notices. That's the fascinating part about royal storytelling. The biggest moments rarely announce themselves loudly at first. Sometimes, it's just a schedule update, a camera angle, a look between family members, a detail people ignore in the moment, until later. And honestly, I think years from now people might look back at this phase of Leonor's life and realize this was the exact period where Spain emotionally accepted her future role without formally saying it. That transition is already happening. Slowly. And tomorrow might accelerate it. Or expose cracks nobody expected. Either way, people will be watching very differently now. And maybe that's the real story tonight. Not the event itself, but the pressure surrounding it. Because behind the polished images, behind the military uniforms, behind the royal choreography, there's still a young woman learning how to carry expectations most people couldn't survive for a week. That part matters. And honestly, I think viewers connect with Leonor most when they remember that human side. Not the title, not the crown, the person underneath it. What have I learned watching this story unfold lately? That modern royalty is no longer about appearing untouchable. It's about surviving visibility. And tomorrow, Leonor steps back into that spotlight again, knowing millions of people will search for meaning in every single detail. That's a heavy life, much heavier than the palace press releases ever admit.